who works on our national roadmap on circular economy, and yes, I'm here to represent Mauritius.
Yes, good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Dismas Mwikila. I work with East Africa Community Secretariat under the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, and all circular economy issue, green and blue economy related matters are being handled under that department. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm confused because I was supposed to sit here in the morning, that's why. Yeah, my name is Nadine Umutoni. I'm here representing the African Organization for Standardization. I'm in charge of coordinating a project related to standard harmonization and conformity assessment procedures. So ARSO being continental body in charge of standard harmonization, does a lot in circular economy and green circular and green economy through its technical committees. So we are really engaged in all the 100 technical committees. We are aiming at developing standards that are taking care of all issues related to sustainability, circular and green economy, to promote trade, and also to mostly focus on African good heritage that we have. Yeah.
Tiana, if you can hear us, can you also introduce yourself and what you do with circular economy with the IOC?
Thank you so much, Joel. I'm Tiana. Good morning, everyone. We're representing the Indian Ocean Commission General Secretary for this session. As you know, the Indian Ocean Commission is the only intergovernmental organization composed by 5 member states, exclusively island states. So we are here also to advocate for our member states' specificity. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Tiana. So we left this slide of the presentation on because from the discussions that the African Union has shared with us with regards to the Circular Economy Action Plan, it really stresses the different roles that everyone has to play. So you see on this slide, in terms of the implementation, we are really looking at how do we create awareness, how do we foster policy alignment, how do we build capacity, and how do we monitor the achievement of the goals under the EU Circular Economy Action Plan. And in this structure, we identify national level implementation as very key. We identify regional level implementation, that's why we have these regional bodies here. And then at the continental level, we have platforms like the ACEA and the African Union to bring everything together to make sure that we achieve our goals. So in terms of the questioning, we will start with our regional economic community bodies here, maybe EAC since you are here, then we will go to IOC. We would like to know what is the current status of circular economy with the EAC and then the IOC, and if you can share with us any flagship initiative that you are currently promoting through your commission and then also through the member states that you think in the long term can help us to achieve this continental goal. So we will start with EAC.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes. A circular economy is strongly recognized as a noble tool to achieve East Africa community in the attainment of ESC Vision 2050. Because under ESC Vision 2050, partner states are focusing to transit to lower middle income country by 2030 with a GDP per capita of 3,000 But by the time we reach to 2050, we are EAC upper income status with GDP per capita of 10,000. In attaining those, there are a number of initiatives and targeted projection which have been earmarked. For example, reducing unemployment rate from the current 14% to 10% in 2030 as well as 6% in 2050. Okay, increasing economic growth rate. Currently, the economic growth rate of the EAC partner state is standing at around 5.6%. But for transiting to achieve the projected level, we expect to attain income economic growth rate of 10% on average up to 2030. In achieving that one, we have to address a number of key challenges, including resource scarcity, water, energy scarcity, food insecurity, as well as environmental degradation. So, circular economy, transition to circular economy is very crucial for the EAC region in attaining our EAC Vision 2050. Not only Vision 2050, but as well as sustainable development objectives. So, what we've achieved so far. Okay, we are now in the process of developing EAC circular economy strategy. Initially, we have an agreement with the Economic Commission of Africa that after finalizing development of EAC blue economy strategy, which were amply developed with support from UNECA, the second move will be now the EAC to have EAC regional strategy, economy strategy. Now the development of EAC, the term of reference to support that is being already developed, and we expect the EAC blue economy strategy, circular economy strategy, will be developing, taking cognizance of the African Union circular economy strategy and action plan. But not only that, the number of current initiatives which are being undertaken at the regional level, or which are more likely related to circular economy. For example, we have EAC e-waste management plan, which is currently being implemented. We are trying to recover, and to repair, recycle, and recover some valuable items from the electronic waste as well as part of e-waste management. Okay, and our EAC blue economy strategy, which is being adopted by partner state, we are promoting, for example, a number of key circular related issues relating converting coconut shells into sustainable energy along the coastal community in Amafi Island, in Tanga, and we want to expand that initiative to Mombasa, even to Mogadishu as a pilot. Okay, integrated water resource management as a way of reducing pollution and encouraging water resource treatment of water, of wastewater and reuse. Okay, is also one of the focus under the EAC blue economy strategy, but as well as EAC water policy, because there are a number of key private sector which are engaged in wastewater treatment, okay, in the region, especially the breweries company, the Tanzania breweries, the Kenya breweries company. They are treating wastewater and using for gardening. We want to scale that, but also in the future we are focusing on how we can make the water from wind and ocean, we can able to treat them and use for to reduce the salt level, to make them available for domestic users. So there's a number of initiatives which are currently being championed at the regional level as a part of circular economy. But the key important role of EAC in this aspect will be policy harmonization. If we can have our own strategy, circular economy strategy, there will be a blueprint for our partner state now to develop the same, to cascade the key intervention under the EAC, from the EAC circular economy strategy into the national level. Okay, capacity building should also be focused, because being a regional institution, we are mandated to coordinate capacity building initiative. The circular economy, despite of importance and recognition, is still not well known among policymakers, okay, in the region. So we are going to sensitize our policymakers, but also the private sector, so that they consider they become aware on the opportunity offered by the circular economy, as well as that can invest. The establishment of regional hubs as well as center of excellence to facilitate knowledge sharing and sharing best practices on circular economy at the regional level will also be another area. Financing, sustainable financing is also one of the areas which you are also focusing. So far, private sector are a little hesitant to invest. So we need to, under EAC circular economy, will come up with sustainable finance mechanism, okay, including benefit financing, PPP, public-private partnership, blue bonds, green bonds, as well as innovative funds, so that to de-risk investment and make our private sector, including small and medium enterprises, be willing to venture into the market. Another thing, the circular economy will always thrive in an integrated market. At EAC, we have a great solid foundation on promoting circular economic value chain. We have the EAC's custom unit protocol and the common market protocol provide a very strong foundation to promote the value chain across the and including especially trading secondary material, refurbished and used material. And through this intervention, we look forward not only for the EAC, because under the EAC Common Market Protocol, EAC is a free trade. So it will become easier now to trade the circular product along ourselves. But the focus will be using now, leveraging the opportunity offered by African Confederation and Continental Free Trade Area to trade the circular product beyond the region. How many minutes do you have?
You have your time.
Oh, sorry. I have minutes to share. Thank you.
I think that at this point, what we would like to know from you, and we will ask IOAC the same questions, is with all these initiatives that the Commission is championing at the regional level, how do you make sure that it is translated at the national level?
Thank you.
Because we know that most times the challenges that regional, sub-regional commissions face is that member states are sovereign states, right? Sometimes they decide whether they want to mainstream some of the regional policies or not. What instruments do you have to make sure that they can be well coordinated? The regional policies and ideas you have are really going to be well translated at the country level.
Thank you very much. And the EAC integration is guided by the treaty, which is the major, the backbone of the EAC integration. Under the treaty, partner state first recognize that development activity might have negative impact to the environment, leading to environmental degradation and depletion of natural resource. But also under the treaty, partner state also recognize that a clean and a healthy environment is a prerequisite for sustainable development. Therefore, following this recognition, partner states agreed, among other things, to harmonize policy, program, and procedure to promote sustainable socio-economic development. Therefore, the mandate provided by the EAC through the treaty provide a framework for developing policy, harmonizing policy, which can be cascaded down at the national level for implementation. So we have that power or that mandate provided by the EAC treaty. Not only policy, but also, for example, developing harmonizing regulatory framework. As now we develop, we promote circular economy, especially metal cycling. We are facing a problem of vandalizing key public infrastructure. So harmonizing, developing sound regulatory instrument will be crucial to ensure that circular economy, including metal cycling, is developed in a sustainable manner without jeopardizing or undermining or becoming detrimental to the existing infrastructure. This is one area also we can also focus to under the EAC initiatives.
Okay, thank you very much. We will come back to you, Mr. Dismas, and maybe we will take the same response from the IOC. Tiana, if you can hear us, if you can share with us some of the flagships that IOC is championing on circular economy, you could also share with us the overall status of circular economy mainstreaming in the IOC as at this stage, and what mechanism do you have to support with coordinating your member states to promote circular economy and to help us to really achieve the continental goal? So Tiana, you have the floor if you can hear us.
Thank you so much, Joel. Then let me start with the current status of circular economy development in the sub-region of the Indian Ocean region. As you know, in the Indian Ocean Islands, and as I mentioned, that we have 5 member states. The circular economy is advancing, but unevenly. So we have first La Réunion, that is clearly the most advanced, applying the EU standards with over like 20 EPR streams already in place. Then after that, we have Mauritius and Seychelles, who have adopted circular economy roadmaps and waste management frameworks, but implementation, particularly on EPR, is still on preparation. Meanwhile, Madagascar and Comoros are at the early stages with basic frameworks but limited sorting, recycling or valorization capacity. And across the region, most circular initiatives are still donor funded. Although several countries are exploring more innovative financing, including green funds, bonds, and PPP models. The last point concerns the shared challenge that remains scaling up from isolated pilots to a true regional ecosystem with harmonized policies, shared infrastructure, and investment mechanisms capable of sustaining circular value chains beyond project cycles are very important. So now let me talk about the flagship circular economy initiatives championed by IOC. First, with the UN Economic Commission for Africa support and the Africa Circular Expertise, the Indian Ocean Commission has taken the lead by developing the Regional Action Plan for the Circular Economy 2025 to 2030, and is about to submit this action plan for the body's approbation at the IOC level. It's the first regional framework aligning island states around 5 priorities, and it's aligned also with the African Circular Economy Action Plan. So, as I mentioned, we have 5 priorities: financing, institutional and legal harmonization, trade facilitation, data and monitoring, and awareness building. In parallel, the IOC has already launched several flagship initiatives. First, for piloting for a regional EPR scheme and the design for ties on packaging, capacity building for the small and medium entrepreneurs in circular clusters. We have also the design of innovative financing tools with the support of the UN Economic Commission, concerning these innovative financing tools, we can talk about regional blue and circular economy fund, sustainable finance taxonomy, which is very important for our member states regarding the sustainable regional fund. So these actions will anchor in a new IOC circular economic unit and will ensure that national efforts converge into a coherent regional transition. And I see this opportunity to submit this perspective to explore and actionable next steps to strengthen the kind of coalition with all the partners present here for the implementation of these priorities. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you very much, Tiana. We will ask you the same question we asked EAC. You have even moved a step further. You have the draft Regional Circular Economy Action Plan that is yet to be approved by your member states. You have done other things like having a system for financing and trade facilitation. You are going to pilot a regional EPR. You are going to have a capacity building for small medium enterprises, and then also a financial taxonomy system. How do you foresee that IOC can really coordinate member states to take up these instruments that you have established? And how do you ensure that they can implement them the way the IOC has envisaged them? So the question is really about coordination. How do you foresee the IOC's role?
Okay, thank you, Joel. As a regional intergovernmental organization, IOC, it's very important that IOC will be the connective tissue of a circular economy at the regional level. So our role is threefold. First, we harmonize aligning standards, product codes, and as I said, EPR definitions and regional scheme to make circular trade feasible across borders. Second one, we empower by providing technical assistance to governments, to the small and medium entrepreneurs, financial, and by establishing data observatories at the regional level and shared monitoring systems based on the material flow accounting in one hand and on the system of environmental economic accounting standards in the other hand. And third, we mobilize by coordinating access to blended finance, de-risking instruments, and sustainable finance guidelines that can channel capital to circular industries as well. So, long story short, regional coordination at our level ensures that the circular economy is not a series of, isolated national experiments or pilots, but a shared and mutually reinforcing regional transition. Thank you, Joel.
We would come to Mauritius, then ARSO will come to you. So Mauritius, you have heard from your original coordinating commission, the IOC, what they are doing at the regional level. Can you also tell us what Mauritius specifically is doing, and if you can connect it to what the IOC is doing at the regional level with regards to circular economy?
Yes, thank you for the question. So Mauritius has its national roadmap since 2023 with the support of the European Union and UNEP Africa, and it comes as building on what we had achieved through the Switch Africa Green pilot initiative since 2014. And after the implementation, the development of the roadmap, we have embarked on in its implementation through mainly the setting up of the institutional framework. So we have circular economy platforms for each of the priority focus areas, which enables us to regroup all the stakeholders for each specific sector, and we have one for the cross-cutting segment, which regroups 6 enablers, mainly governance, awareness raising, public procurement, green financing, and business support and research and innovation. And we are trying to drive the momentum with the support of our development partners. So the main one is the European Union once again, and we are having support to put in place a couple of enablers, and also to build into the implementation of one of the main sectors, which is across the construction and real estate sector. So the support of the European Union will contribute towards putting in place a dedicated legislation for circular economy in Mauritius. It will also help to have a communication strategy in place. A monitoring and environment and evaluation framework also will be developed to track progress. And with this, this is one of the aspects. The second aspect is supporting directly the private sector to move forward on circular economy. And under this area, we will have the business support, the mechanism which will be put in place. We will have the financing hub and capacity building for the construction sector. And all our platforms are mainly co-chaired. So we have chairing from the government sector and the private sector. So this is about what we are doing. And to rejoin on the IOC segment, we are trying to have frameworks which are regional. So I will elaborate on one. For example, to promote plastic recycling in Mauritius, we as an island state, we have a real problem of small economies of scale. So we are collaborating with Réunion Island, which is more advanced, and we are importing plastic from Réunion Island to boost the recycling company which is implanted in Mauritius. And also, we have issues with how to recycle EV batteries, which is becoming a major problem. So we are trying to have support from the IOC countries to see how to address the problem of technicalities, of know-how, and to have a sort of framework put in place to address these kind of circular economy issues at the regional level. So this is mainly how we are working together with the IBC.
Thank you very much, Mauritius. We see also, Mauritius, you have a plan, you have the National Circular Economy Action Plan or Roadmap.
Yes.
Since 2023, and you have started implementation. Maybe one question for you would be, you mentioned that as part of this plan, you are providing direct support to the private sector, particularly in financing and capacity development. And we've all listened throughout the day that private sector is really one of the engines to transform our economies into a circular one. Will you be able to share more details on how this financing is looking like? Is it policy level, creating an enabling environment with some incentives, or direct financing, or you are working with a certain group of people from the financial sector to provide support to the private sector? And then also maybe you can add on specific examples of the capacity development that you also give into the private sector.
I will start with what you mentioned, the capacity building. So this will come with the EU support program, which we have embarked just now in September. So one of the aspects of that support program is to give private sector empowerment through bilateral sharing between the EU and Mauritius. So this will be addressed. On the financing aspect, we don't have like direct financing aspects for the private sector, but recently in our budget 2025-2026, the government has announced something, a scheme which is called a Waste to Wealth, which is still under preparation. And one of the aspects of this scheme will be to, exactly like you said, to provide financial support through government financing. So I don't have much information on that because it is a new scheme, but what I have heard, there will be dedicated schemes which will be formulated. So like recyclers or people engaging in innovative ventures can eventually apply for this type of support from the government to put in place their initiatives. And another thing which we are doing is developing our own national green economy and green taxonomy. This will be like a repertoire for activities in the green and circular aspect, and it will help investors to support new initiatives in that aspect. So it will provide criteria when these initiatives can apply for support for banks, etc. So these are some of the things we are doing to support.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I have to stay with you again. We would like to know who is leading this process in Mauritius, which agency is leading, and how are you ensuring that it's not seated only within one ministry, for example, Ministry of Environment or Environmental Protection Agency? How are you ensuring that all the other relevant ministries are also part of this whole system you are creating, and including vulnerable groups like women, association of waste pickers, youth, businesses, and then innovators? How are you ensuring that this whole of society approach is being mentioned in your process? And then when you finish, you can tell us, how do you foresee circular economy development in Mauritius? And which areas do you think that partners should be paying attention to whilst we think of the continental goal? Thank you.
Yeah, first of all, like I mentioned, the roadmap is a government-approved document. So it was approved at the level of the Cabinet of Ministers. So all the ministers are informed and engaged in a participatory approach. The roadmap itself was a co-creation between government, private sector, and the civil society. So this was first and foremost the first building block for the circular economy. And also for the governance structure, we have the overarching platform is the steering committee, and I forgot to mention the Ministry of Environment is the main driver, and this steering committee is co-chaired by the permanent secretary of the ministry and the representative of the private sector apex body for Mauritius. It is Business Mauritius. So this is co-chaired platform regrouping both the public and private sector and the civil society. And for each of the 5 priority focus areas, we have dedicated platforms. Again, part of them are co-chaired by the private sector. And in these platforms, we have NGOs, we have the civil society, etc. So on all boards, we have taken the stakeholders together with us to ensure a collaborative and inclusive approach. So this is our main focus. And as you mentioned, you asked how do we foresee. So we, as the government, are investing efforts to create the enabling environment. So like I mentioned, a dedicated legislation. We hope to have a national communication strategy. We are having a monitoring framework, so this is the enablers, and also working with the private sector, we are having a financing strategy, a financing hub which will be created with the collaboration of the European Union. So, and we have a business support system which will be put in place. So this will be, for the time being, anchored on the construction and real estate sector, but we hope soon to replicate and upscale the same strategy to the other priority focus areas.
So now we come to ARSO. ARSO is here because of a very important subject of standardization. As we are moving into developing green products, developing green businesses, the issue of standards become a very important topic. Can you tell us what ARSO is doing in this area with regards to standardization for green products, for circular economic products? We know you've already developed one. We will let you say it and tell the participants and how you came about that. Then we will come into how do you foresee your role in improving standards for circular economy development in Africa?
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. ARSO, okay, briefly is as I introduced when I was introducing myself, is an intergovernmental organization which was founded in 1977. So we are 48 years old, and that was to bring all the African countries together, so that they can be thinking on how to provide standards that are needed for the continent to trade among within the continent and also outside the continent. That mandate is also re-emphasized in the AFCFTA, African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, specifically in its Annex 6 on technical barriers to trade, where all member states are required to adopt an ARSO standard, and if there is no international standard that is suitable for the continent, ask ARSO to develop that standard. So from that time where the AFCFTA became operational, ARSO has been really accelerating its work. So far, our programs are in 6 categories, and the first one is standard harmonization, and the second is conformity assessment, the third is training, coaching, and capacity building, and the fourth one is about awareness creation of all stakeholders and sensitization. The fifth one now is information sharing, information related to standards, to regulatory information, and also the last one is partnerships. So now coming to standard harmonization and development, ARSO is a body that tries to connect the continent to outside the continent, trying to bring the national, regional context together and try to comply with the international. So in what we do, we always first look at international level. What are if these are the priorities of Africa, what do we have at international level that is equivalent to what we want? After identifying those available standards at international level, then the technical committees made of our member states. I forgot to mention that we have a membership of 44 countries, targeting the universal continental membership. Then the technical committee specific, we have 100 technical committees, and those technical committees have membership depending on the priority of the countries. They join the committees. So those technical committees now identify the standards that are needed. If the existing international standards are suitable for the continent, we immediately adopt, so that we are not isolating the continent. And this is also based on the best practices per the WTO, which we always refer to. So, but when there is no existing international standard, or when the existing international standard is not suitable for the continent, then the committee looks into the region at the REX level, if there is a standard. If not, we go to national, and if there is a national, we now start discussing it now to make it a continental, where all the members now bring in their ideas, their views to make it continental standard. Now on this particular ARPET you have mentioned, and all of you know, I want to tell you that it's not only the ARPET bottles when it comes to food contact. We have others. We have other standards, but the ARPET is known by ACEA because ACEA had had initiated together with the AFTB. So this standard, we developed it from scratch, but because there was no suitable international standard for this, so we really worked on the region, and we found that some of the West African countries have the standards. So we used the Nigerian draft, that it was a published standard, but now to become an African, we had to develop it for 24 months. The technical committee that dealt with this standard is having 17 members, 15 ARSO member countries, one observer member, which is Zanzibar, and also one region economic community, which is IGAD. That technical committee is working on food packaging and labeling. It's harmonized other standards for packaging, plastic, metal, glass, paper, and also on some standard on labeling. So RPET, the standard on RPET for bottles is one of the 30 standards. So that standard also mobilized funds. We really struggled because of the controversial views from our member states. There are member states that are not accepting plastic, either RPET, either whatever plastic which comes into contact with food. So that one we can mention Morocco. Morocco is here. There is Rwanda. There are also other countries that did not accept the standards, and that created like a long period of discussion. And we thank members, of course, which are also members of ACEA, especially Nigeria, who provided the comments during the inquiry stage, because these standards really took a lot of resources. It's like any other standard, but I want to emphasize on this. I heard in the opening where they said circular economy requires a huge investment, and it is upon us to put to put our efforts together to come up with the standards, because without standards, whatever we do cannot move. I was really interested in following the presentations that have been made, where there was support to enterprises to progress and access the market. But now, if the enterprises, I wonder how they can access the market without complying with standards. So it is really a barrier. Standard can be a barrier if they are not complied with. So I was, okay, now on that particular one, I can add some more. We have other standards that we published in this June. Standards such as the green construction, the green building and construction. We have others, natural building stones. We have so many other standards, and these standards are aligned with the European Union Deforestation Regulation, EUDR, which was really which was giving requirements that African enterprises were really challenged to comply with. So these standards, we are trying to mobilize the members to adopt and let the enterprise to comply with them. Now, when it comes to conformity assessment on this, we cannot leave the standard in the shelves. We need now to promote it. We need to launch the standard. We need to let the member states know that these standards need to be in their system. Like the members that have their national standards, such as Nigeria and Ghana, maybe South Africa, if I'm not mistaken, they should now withdraw the existing national standard and adopt the continental standard. That is the first step. And the second step is now to mobilize the enterprises. How to mobilize the enterprises? We always develop sensitization materials to simplify the technical language of the standards. So those documents, we provide them, we develop them at the ARSO Central Secretariat, and we make them available to the member states so that they can even translate them into the national and local languages. That is the third step. The other step is now going into certification. Letting the enterprise now going into complying, providing them with the checklist, which is simplified, of course. Now, for them to auto-evaluate if they comply, those producing the materials, RPET materials, now to see if these materials I'm producing are conform to this standard. After then, we initiate the third-party auditing, where the certification body now goes into auditing the companies and also test the materials and establish a certificate. This one, it's hard because it's a lot of money. It is in the beginning we need to support the countries by like ARSO does this, and we are in the process of certifying. So we allow them, the enterprises, we pay 100% certification for the first certification, because the certification has circles. There is also a reconfirmation of certification so that the enterprise is recognized as complying. So it's something that we can cooperate with any of the partners so that we can support the enterprises who are complying. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think we can give them a round of applause so far for all the information.